The blue helmets.
Now, Jermont, we want to break in here because Jermont, sorry to interrupt you, but we want to go back to Andrew Ramos because we're hearing that they've started some sort of fire, and we can see what looks like protesters on different sides now yelling at each other. Andrew, can you hear us?
Yes, right now. I could hear you now, Erica. They're burning, it appears to be an American flag that they have drenched in some sort of fluid. I believe it's maybe gasoline, and they keep igniting it. But it just caused a little bit of a burst of flames just a little while ago, but it went out, so now there is no fire, but it was definitely a sight to see. And now, as you can see, the fire has reignited. They have a number, what appears to be a bundle of American flags that are bundled in a ball, and they ignited it with some fluid, and now it seems that they are now crowding around it, looking like a bonfire at this point. But yeah, the fire is right now going. It's on right now, and it seems to be getting a little bigger. They're adding to it. I'm not sure if what you're seeing, what I'm seeing. I'm closer to the ground, but the fire. Now we're getting a little bit of a crowd around these flames. We don't see any sort of first responders or any police here directly at the scene who could possibly see that there's a fire. Obviously, this is a hazard and not something that should be happening in the middle of Madison. But it seems like they are feeding the flames with some sort of fluid. I'm trying not to get too close because it's becoming more of a crowd situation where we are getting pushed back and forth. But it appears that they're just setting this fire right now, and there is nobody on the scene that is going to stop this. When everything happened earlier, there was a little bit of pushback, and we did see some of those agitators that you guys were describing earlier that were causing most of the problems when they pushed toward police, and then they took off. But right now, many of them have kind of scattered around. We're not seeing much of the arrest. We did see about 2 arrests take place. But again, when they scattered, it caused a huge rush and push through the crowd, and it caused a little bit of a chaotic moment for many of us. We have our photographer, Pat, who's now elevated just to keep a safe distance because we didn't know what was going on the back end of things along here on Madison. So right now, it seems to be under control again. Police are now lined up again where they are trying to contain this crowd. Tensions have, again, it seems like it feels like a roller coaster. It gets very chaotic at times, and now they are speaking to their supporters and trying to talk to them. It's now a little bit more of a calmer situation, but again, that is not to say that this will outburst in a couple of minutes, but let's see what happens. We're going to send it over to you.
So if I can just jump in for a moment. So what you're seeing right now, it's typical for demonstrators to start burning American flags. So as I'm looking over the scene, I see a lot of Gold Star command staff members with CPD right there on the ground. So they're not going to go in there to put that fire out. As long as they assess that it's not a danger, imminent danger to anyone, and it's contained to right inside the group that started it, they're going to let that go on, because what you don't want to happen is the police become the reason things escalate. So at this point, they've assessed it. It doesn't appear that anybody's in any kind of danger. Of course, we all know burning the American flag is against the law, but you have to understand if it's not worth it at this point to go in there and do something, because then you're going to cause a disturbance between the police and those demonstrators that you don't have to have. Remember, some of those agitators, what they want to constantly do is put the police in a position to where they can create an issue with the police department. And when I was superintendent, I always told officers, maintain your decorum. Always remember de-escalation. If there's not a valid reason to go in there and start yanking people out of that crowd, then don't do it. Because a lot of times they'll lose interest, and then that situation will calm down like we're seeing it do right now. Yes, they burn the flag, but it's not worth diving into that crowd of demonstrators to put those fires out, and nobody's in any imminent danger or anything like that. So I think that they're taking the proper course of action right now, and we won't see anything happen with CPD unless some violence starts to erupt.
Yeah, so Superintendent, as you're speaking here, we do see some officers to the right back of our screen by the building starting to move. I did want to clarify, though, just to give the full perspective here, the burning of the flag, it is protected free speech ruled by the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So just want to clarify that for our viewers. Now, to your point, though, if this becomes some sort of danger, if this becomes something where, you know, it could be a harm to someone else, be it the fire spreading, those could be potentially times when the officers would step in. But I think your bigger point was that they don't want to escalate this if
Correct.
at this point it is peaceful.
Right, because there's no reason to go in there and do anything at this point. They're exercising their First Amendment rights, and okay, that's fine. As long as nothing gets violent or they don't start destroying property, then CPD is just going to stand by and let them do what they're doing.
Superintendent, I'm wondering, actually stand by for us if you would, because we want to check back in with Jermont on this most recent movement we've seen. Jermont, what do you have?
Yes, I have seen more tactical officers come in. That's what Erica was just describing, them walking, being bussed in and going towards that actual building. But I want to give our viewers another perspective. Keep in mind that this is happening right in the heart of downtown. We're going to pan our camera to the right and show you. Look at people simply in their buildings, looking down on this, watching very attentively. This is their homes. This is right outside the presidential tower here on Madison. So people are really watching and wondering if things are going to remain safe as they have. But we come back down, take a look. Chicago Police, they are now moving further west on Madison. We're going to get it out of their way as this line is being pushed further and further back. Take a look at the crew here as we pan our camera. Again, they continue to maintain their order, and they're also keeping their formation together. This could be an indication, as I just mentioned, I just saw more tactical officers being bussed in. They're coming in closer to where that group is still rallying, and you can hear the banging of the drums, and the demonstration continues. Again, CPD, I'm in the middle of working. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we have people, again, agitators like that is what CPD likely have to deal with as well. But as we continue to do our jobs here, Chicago Police, they're making sure that this group does not move further west on Madison. They now have this entire intersection here at Madison and Clinton roped off, blocked off with manpower. But if we zoom in, they're not just standing here. They have their batons in hand, and they're sending a very clear message. Superintendent Johnson, you can probably elaborate on this. When you see officers standing in formation like that with their batons in hand, what is the message that they're sending here, sir?
They're letting those protesters know that if you do get out of control and you become violent or physical in any manner, you'll be dealt with. There is a consequence, because remember, with these protests, you know, it's a cat and mouse game. So the police department always had to be cognizant of not violating their civil rights. And Erica rightfully pointed out that I've been out for a moment, that the burning of the flag is protected now. But what CPD wants to do is let them know, as long as you stay peaceful, then you can continue to exercise your First Amendment rights. But if you don't, standing there with the batons is letting them know we're ready to take action if you cause us to. And the other part is, too, with the officers standing there in formation like that, they're not moving. So they're telling the crowd, we're not going to do anything to you as long as you remain peaceful. And I think that's important, because we learned lessons from before. If we got, you know, we started moving in too soon, then we were the fuse that lit the fire, and we don't want that to happen with CPD. So over these years, there's a lot of lessons learned. So those cops will remain there like that for a while, just to let the protesters know, protest peacefully and you're okay. But if you get out of hand, then you're going to be dealt with. There's going to be a consequence.